All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of The Potential Project. I'm your host, Sean Calhoun, and if you're here, it's because you're ready to reduce stress, burn stubborn fat, and get your body working with you instead of against you. On this podcast, we're all about simple, no BS strategies for fitness, nutrition, and lifestyle. This way, you can feel strong, confident, and in control. I'll give you the tools, mindset shifts, and habits to help you look and feel your best without spending hours in the gym or stressing over every single meal. Now, let's get into it. Okay, welcome back. Now, today we're going to be talking about something that drives me crazy. It's something that you see online all the time. A lot of the quote unquote bro science and people on social media oversimplify this topic a lot. And I'm going to break it down, right? We're not going to go hugely scientific, but we're going to answer some questions and bring some clarity to the whole conversation surrounding calories in and calories out. So if you're someone who's felt like you've tried everything, the eating clean, tracking calories, pushing harder in the gym, and somehow your body still refuses to change, then this episode is for you, right? This one is going to bring some clarity to all that and hopefully give you some action steps to take going forward. Now, just know you're not crazy, and no, you're not broken. You've just been following advice that doesn't really fit your physiology anymore, right? If you're a middle-aged woman, season up, then guess what? What happens and what works for you back when you were in your 20s or for a younger man isn't the same for you. Now, I'm speaking to you as a 31-year-old man, so I understand that you and I are different, but so are you from the next woman next to you. So everyone is different. And I want to just bring that to light and show you again, you're not crazy, you're not broken, things have just changed, and we need to understand how our body works. So today, we're really going to unpack the old adage of calories in versus calories out and how that model is just, it's so oversimplified, it's outdated, and in some cases, it's damaging, right? Especially if you're a woman who's in your 40s and up, because you've probably been the person who's tried a bunch of diets, you're trying extreme workouts, you can't figure out why nothing is budging, nothing is changing, and you start to get internal with it thinking you're crazy or your body doesn't work or you're just getting old, and you're telling yourself these stories, but they simply aren't true, right? So by the end of this call, by the end of this episode, you're going to understand exactly why your body's been resisting change and what you can do starting this week to reverse that, right? Because again, I love to give out information, share my point of view, but all of that goes to the wayside if we're not actually doing something with it. So if you feel like what you learned today is valuable, I'm just going to urge you to take some action because your health, doesn't get improved if you don't take action on it. I'm still going to do what works for me, but that doesn't mean that your health is going to change. So if you learn something, I want you to take action on it, right? So let's get to the root of all this, right? The diet industry has taught women that if they just eat less and move more, fat is just going to magically melt away. But that advice, when it started, was built on research done on young, healthy men, not women in midlife. So I know there's the laws of thermodynamics, and we can't simply overeat our way into fat loss and losing weight. I get that. But the studies that were done on younger men, not women in midlife. So we need to remember that your body is not a calculator. It's not simply I burned 1,500 calories and I ate 1,200 calories, therefore I'm in a 300 calorie deficit and all my problems are going to go away. No, your body's more like a chemistry lab, right? Hormones like cortisol, thyroid, your insulin, estrogen, they all determine how your calories are used, stored, or burned, right? You don't just consume food and it beep boop bop puts in the calculation of how many calories and we get rid of the rest. Like, no, it's so much more complicated than that. And it frustrates me to no end to see these people kind of like, they're almost like talking to you in a sarcastic tone where it's like, Susie, if you're overeating, you're not going to lose weight. Well, it's like, yeah, we know that. We can't stuff our faces. But you're over here trying to tell me that this human biology, ooh, I think I got a sneeze coming. I might lose it. Either way, I'll try to fight off that sneeze. But you're trying to tell me that our bodies that are capable of so many magnificent things are just simply calories in, calories out. It doesn't work that way. So like, even if you're just eating a 1,200 calorie a day diet and working out 6 times a week, but yet your hormones are dysregulated, your metabolism slows down to protect you, and it's not trying to punish you, it's just making that adaptation. So you could be doing all those things, but if your hormones are dysregulated, that's going to screw everything up. And again, I'm not blaming your hormones, and I sure as heck don't like victim mentality, right? I don't like the people who are just like, oh, it's my age, oh, it's my hormones. No, no, no. You need to take, action, and you need to take full ownership. If you're not being the person who you need to be to achieve those goals, that's the first step. But we're also not saying just eat less, right? That is totally, totally like damaging to our mental state and causes people to go into chronic dieting, and you're kind of going down a slippery slope, both mentally and physically. And I'll explain a little bit of that in our episode today, right? So here's kind of how the adaptation loop goes for your metabolism. And I'm going to simplify this for layman's terms and for the sake of time, but let's break it down. What most people do is you restrict calories. You heard that, you need to eat less, then you exercise, and you need to eat less than you burn in order to lose weight and to burn fat. So when you restrict those calories, your body senses a state of famine. It's like, ooh, I'm not nourished enough. I don't know when I'm going to get my next meal. So what happens is cortisol rises, and cortisol is our primary stress hormone, and that increases just to help you survive. Because again, your body is like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it with this amount of food, right? It's undernourished. Then your thyroid slows down, which is your primary regulator of your metabolism, which then causes your metabolism to drop. So now our body is not burning the fuel that we're giving it as efficiently, right? And a good way to test this is, I know not everybody has a thermometer laying around per se, but if you were to wake up and take your temperature under your tongue on your thermometer, and then wait again 40 minutes later or after you eat a meal and take it again, your temperature, your internal body temperature should rise when you eat food, not drop. That's showing that your metabolism is firing up the furnace to burn the fuel, right? And if that's not happening, that means your metabolism has slowed down, and there could be some signals and things that we can change, right? So after the metabolism drops, then we have muscle tissue breakdown. We're not keeping our lean muscle as much. So we have less lean muscle mass and less fat burning, right? And then after all of that mess is happening, now we have fat storage that increases, especially around the midsection, right? So even though you're eating less, your body becomes more efficient at storing fat. Now, a good analogy to think of when it comes to this scenario is, let's imagine you work a salary and you make a certain amount of money. Let's do a business owner instead, because that's more flexible with your income. You own a business, and you also have bills and expenses and lifestyle things, right? So what you're saying is that you want to comb through your expenses and minimize those as much as possible. So maybe you get rid of a subscription, you budget out your groceries, so now you're not buying as many snacks, and you're tightening up your budget, but you're still making the same amount of money. Your body's telling yourself, ooh, let's condense. And you make a little bit less money, and because the month wasn't so great, so you're looking through your expenses again, and you're like, oh, what can we cut off? So then you get rid of cable TV because you only watch Netflix anyway. So that's another bill. And then the next month doesn't go so well with the business, and you make a little bit less money, and you're like, oh my gosh, what else could we cut from our expenses? We're not going to pay ourselves as much. We'll just pay the business, or you know what, we're going to stop going out to eat, so we'll cut that. And you are constantly in this state of curling up into a ball, into that famine, that scarcity mindset of what could we keep reducing, and yet your income continues to go down as well. Instead of, let's figure out how can we make more money. Again, I'm not saying to be stupid with your expenses, but if you could just make more money, the expenses that you have wouldn't affect you as much, and you wouldn't have to go combing through everything to try to reduce your grocery cost if you could just make more money. So the same scenario goes with our body, right? You're not going to continue to cut calories and cut calories and cut calories because your body is just a huge adaptation machine, and it's going to continue to shrink to your level that you're bringing it. So you're continuing to cut your calories. Your body is like, okay, we need to survive on this few amount of calories, and it's not doing so just by burning fat, right? So unfortunately, it's throwing off all of our internal systems, dysregulating hormones even more, and causing this problem to snowball in the wrong direction. So the problem with this is, as this slippery slope starts to happen, you start thinking, well, something must be wrong with me. When really, your body's just doing exactly what it was designed to do, and that is to protect you. Hey, hope you're loving the episode so far. Thanks for spending some time with me. I got a quick favor to ask. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast because that's how I know you're getting value from the show. And this way, you never miss an episode. All right, now back to the show. So we need to understand that your body, and I've said this in plenty of times, but your body knows how to, maintain a healthy weight, have energy, sleep well, optimize hormones, right? It knows how to do all that stuff. We just have to let it. And the first step is getting it out of that fight or flight, allowing it to be in a state of abundance and do what it knows how to do by itself. That was a tongue twister sentence. I don't even think I got through it. But you get what I'm saying. Now, personally, I remember talking to my mom about this same exact thing. I've shared on social media before, and if you're listening to this, Mom, hello. But she's a client, right? She's working with me through this process, where for years she thought that fatigue, bloating, and weight gain were just like, a part of getting older, a part of hereditary, just a part of the story, right? Like, it's normal for that to happen. And it's not, right? She didn't eat very much. She was picky. She would eat light, sometimes skip meals, right? And do what her idea was of just being healthy, right? But realistically, she was running on fumes, and that's a problem, right? So what did we do? We ran her labs. We found metabolism had slowed down, cortisol was dysregulated, and her gut was a mess. Her gut was super inflamed, right? But we took a couple weeks. We introduced different lifestyle protocols, different changes that she could do with her eating, with her routine, a couple supplements. And, it helped her to balance her stress response, to start healing the gut, to allow her body to feel safe again. And then that improves energy, your mood, your ability to get more deep, restful sleep. Like, those things start to improve. And no, it's not linear and it's not perfect, but you start to see those changes over time. And it's really empowering because, if you're thinking that being bloated, being fatigued, and just having this weight gain around your midsection is normal, it's not normal. It might be common, but it's not normal. Normal is having energy, sleeping well, being in a good mood, right? Your body, that is normal, right? So we want to change our mindset towards this whole thing. And, this really clicked for me, right? That most women don't need to work harder. They just need to work smarter and work with their physiology and not against it. Right? We don't want to fight against our physiology. We're not trying to rewrite the rules here. We're just trying to abide by them and play the game properly, right? So here are the big truths that really just change everything, right? So because when it comes down to changing our scenario in life, hitting goals, living vital, right? It comes down to our mindset overall. So truth number one is you're not under-disciplined, you're undernourished, right? So this whole cycle of you chronically dieting keeps your body in survival mode. And when your body doesn't feel safe, it holds on to fat and lets go of energy, right? So most of my clients don't need to eat less. They just need to eat better foods, more whole foods, more nourishing foods, and do it more consistently, right? We're not starving ourselves through fasting windows, and we're not, cutting the amount of calories and saying carbs are the enemy. No. Whole foods all day, eating nourishing foods, filling our body up with the nutrients and minerals that it needs to create energy, right, and feel safe. Truth number two is that cardio isn't the answer, muscle is. Cardio burns calories in the moment, where muscle burns calories 24/7. And I want to reiterate this, right? We all have our watches and our trackers, and cool, use your technology. But if you're on the treadmill or you're doing some type of workout and all you're doing is checking those calories, thinking that, oh man, I burned 500 calories. That's going to help me with my overall calories in, calories out equation for the day versus what I ate. Things are going to be great. No, that is the whole concept, like I was saying with the business owner, of cutting expenses and thinking like, oh my gosh, things are going to be better when I have no expenses. That's impossible. You're going to have expenses. So for you, instead of saying, how could I burn more calories on this treadmill and keep tracking it on my watch and run myself into the ground, let's just make more money, right? Let your body burn more calories while it's at rest. And how do we do that? Through lean muscle mass. So when you lift weights and you fuel properly, you're going to raise your metabolic baseline. That's huge. Imagine going through life and you just know you're going to burn 2,000 calories just by being a human being. That kind of frees you up a little bit, right? When you get to that level, now you don't have to be 100% strict on your diet. You can enjoy a sweet once in a while. You don't have to count every single macro for the rest of your life when you build up your metabolic baseline. And that's how you get your body to work for you again and not against you. Now, truth number 3 is that hormones are the gatekeepers, right? Calories do matter, right? Again, you cannot just stuff your face, even if it's with whole foods. If you consume a ton of food, you're not going to lose weight. But hormones decide how those calories are used, right? If cortisol is high and estrogen is unbalanced, which for a lot of midlife women, that's the situation, right? You're stressed out chronically for years, even if it's at a low amount. And when you go through peri and actual menopause, your estrogen tanks. That's just our body's biology, right? So when that happens, your body's going to store more, burn less, and just feel tired doing it. That's not fun, right? We don't want that. So you might say, all right, Sean, that's cool and all. These truths, right? You're bringing up a good point here. What do we do about this, right? So our goal is to shift from awareness of it to empowerment. The first step is to know, right? But to know and not to do doesn't help us, right? Knowledge is power, but applied knowledge is actual power, right? So we need to empower ourselves to do something about it. So how do we fix this? You rebuild your foundation. You stop guessing, start testing, and you focus on nourishment and nervous system balance. Your nervous system regulates your energy, your hormones, all of that, right? So we need to balance that and we need to nourish our body. And that's exactly what we do inside our Vitality Coaching Program, right? We identify what your body, specifically you, actually needs through functional labs and create a roadmap that's personalized, that restores your metabolism, balances hormones, and balances your energy levels naturally, right? It's all through lifestyle approach. This isn't about another diet or a tracking app that you have to use on your phone. It's about making your body feel safe again and make it feel like it's in a place where it can let go of stored fat, of stress, and balance its nervous system and get back to baseline. But if you're listening to this and thinking, this sounds like me, here's what you can do this week, right? A couple things. One would be to eat protein with your breakfast, like have a protein-rich breakfast, something savory, within an hour of waking. Another thing you could do is go for a 10-minute walk after each meal. Every time you eat, go up and down the stairs or go around the block if it's nice out, right? Move the body after you eat in a calming way, not like sprint, not like a workout. Go for a walk. And then 3 would be to track your sleep quality instead of your calories. And I'm not just saying, wear your, Apple Watch to bed or your Oura Ring. Like that stuff is great data. But wake up, take a breath, or throughout the day, notice how your sleep was. Hey, did I toss and turn last night? Did I wake up 5 times? Or was I comfortable? Was I restful all night? Track your sleep quality, rank it on a scale of 1 to 10, and maybe make a note, rather than how many calories you're eating. I promise you that focus is so much more empowering and like uplifting and it helps you build momentum rather than saying, oh my gosh, I can only have 300 calories at dinner because I had that extra snack at lunch and now what am I going to do? I'm starving. That mindset leaves you in chronic stress, right? That is not a helpful way to live your life, right? What you're doing is you're sending your body safety signals. There's food and nourishment. I'm getting rest. I'm experiencing calm, right? I know many of you haven't experienced calm in a long time, right? And you're going to be shocked at how quickly your energy returns when you do those things. That's what really matters, right? Telling your body I'm nourished, I'm able to be calm, and I'm able to rest and restore from life and workouts and things like that. So if you've been trying everything and nothing's working, just remember it's not your fault. You've just been missing the root cause. So if you're finally ready to, do things like burn fat, build up your energy, and stop feeling like you're stuck, I just want to invite you to take the next step, right? You can click in the show notes. I'm going to put a button down there so that you can book a free call with me, right? We'll chat on the phone. We'll go over your specific scenario, right? Because everyone's different. We can uncover what's holding you back, go through your symptoms, and just map out a plan to finally feel yourself again. Or if you would just want to learn more first and not jump right into a Zoom call, you can check out the free training that I put together that explains how exactly this process works. Either way, I just encourage you to take some action. And if you enjoyed this and learned something, please share it with a friend. All right, guys, amazing. Go be great, and I will see you next week. Hey, thanks for spending some time with me on today's episode. I hope you got a ton of value from it. If we're not connected on Instagram yet, let's change that. Hit me up at Sean Calhoun _. That's SEAN Calhoun _. Shoot me a DM. Let me know what you think of the show or if you got any questions about how to level up your health. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you on the next episode.